Charles was a quiet boy. He preferred listening to talking. At school, he was always observing. He felt most comfortable blending into the background. Charles was full of thoughts and ideas, but he rarely shared them. He doubted himself and his abilities. Charles worried about what others thought. He was afraid of making mistakes. He often compared himself to his classmates. They seemed so confident and outgoing. Charles wished he could be more like them. He longed to find his voice. Deep down, Charles knew he had something special to offer. He just needed a little push to unlock his potential. Little did he know that push was about to arrive at his school. It would come in the form of a very special teacher. Mrs. Willow was a breath of fresh air. She was the new English teacher. She had a warm smile and a kind heart. Mrs. Willow had a gift for seeing the potential in every student. She believed in them, even when they didn't believe in themselves. Mrs. Willow noticed Charles right away. She saw his quiet intelligence and his kind heart. She knew there was more to him than met the eye. She observed him in class. He was attentive, but never spoke up. She saw him in the hallways, always keeping to himself.
I wanted to help Charles find his voice. I knew he had something special to offer. I just needed to find a way to draw him out.
One day, Mrs. Willow announced a new opportunity. The school was starting a debate team. She encouraged her students to sign up. Charles was hesitant at first. He had never been on a team before. The thought of speaking in front of others terrified him.
Charles, I think you would be a great addition to the team. I see your potential for critical thinking and thoughtful arguments.
Charles was surprised. No teacher had ever shown such confidence in him. Mrs. Willow's words sparked something in Charles. He decided to take a leap of faith. He signed up for the debate team that very day. It was the first step on his journey from timid to triumphant. Joining the debate team was a turning point for Charles. He discovered a love for research and formulating arguments. He enjoyed the camaraderie of his teammates. They accepted him for who he was, quiet and thoughtful.
The first time I had to speak in a debate, my heart raced. My palms were sweaty, but I took a deep breath and started to speak. The words came out, a little shaky at first, but then smoother. By the end of my argument, I felt a surge of accomplishment. I had faced my fear and found my voice.
Charles's confidence began to grow. He started participating more in class discussions. He even volunteered to tutor other students in English. He found joy in helping others learn. With each small step, Charles gained more self-belief. Mrs. Willow continued to be Charles's biggest cheerleader. She offered him guidance and support. She created a safe and encouraging environment in her classroom. Charles felt comfortable sharing his thoughts and ideas. He no longer doubted himself.
One day, I announced a special project. Each student would give a presentation on a book they loved.
Charles knew this was his chance to truly shine. He chose his favorite novel, a story about a young boy who overcomes adversity.
I poured my heart and soul into my presentation. I practiced for hours, refining my ideas and smoothing out my delivery. I wanted to make Mrs. Willow proud. More importantly, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it.
The day of the presentation arrived. Charles felt a flutter of nerves, but they were different this time. It wasn't fear, it was excitement. He took a deep breath and stepped to the front of the classroom. He looked out at his classmates, then at Mrs. Willow. Her encouraging smile calmed his nerves.
I began to speak. My voice was clear and strong. I captivated my audience with my passion and insights. I spoke about the book's message of hope and resilience. I shared my own journey of overcoming self-doubt.
When Charles finished, the classroom erupted in applause. He had done it. He had faced his fear and emerged triumphant. He was no longer the timid boy who blended into the background. He had found his voice. He had embraced his potential. Charles discovered that true strength comes not from being the loudest, but from believing in yourself.